Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 87 of the All Dolphins podcast. Yeah, we're back to the numbers, Omar. And I know you don't have anybody for 87 because not a whole lot of players who made like a big impression with that number. In fact, when I did my series a couple of summers ago, the three players who wore whatever number best for the Dolphins, when it came to 87, it was rough. So we're going to give a shout out here just for my buddy John. Yes, Andre Tillman, former second round pick. But the one I'm going to go with is Dan Johnson, who was a tight end who had the distinction of scoring a touchdown in the Super Bowl after the 1984 season when the Dolphins were defeated by the Joe Montana-led San Francisco 49ers 38-16.
What is my third choice? Because I don't know either of those individuals.
Eric Ezukanma wore 87 last year before switching to 18 this year.
So nobody wants 87. Okay.
Nobody wants 87. The list of players, I have it here. Clive Wilford, Rashawn Scott, Ryan Spadola, Anthony Armstrong, Justin Peele. It's not a very illustrious group, to be honest with you.
Justin Peele sounds like the best player in that unit.
He also wore a different number, if memory serves. He wasn't only 87. He became like an assistant coach somewhere else around the NFL.
Mm-hmm. For some reason, I think he's maybe the Giants. He's a part of Dan Campbell's staff. Let me look that up. Go ahead, continue.
That would be Lions. No, that's all I got as far as numbers are concerned. In terms of 87s, it's not a strong group. 88 is going to be a lot more obvious when we get to it tomorrow. So today is Monday, September 24th. It's the day after the historic.
He is with the Atlanta Falcons as the tight ends coach.
Coaching under Arthur Smith. Crazy wild game again the day after this 70-20 win over the Denver Broncos, where the Dolphins had a chance to tie the NFL record for most points. They could have set the NFL record for most points in the regular season, which is 72. Playoff game, and there was a 73-0 game decided against it.
And I have a column up on alldolphins.com, which has Mike McDaniel explaining to you why he didn't want the record, and basically justifying it with his players why you don't want to get the record that way, about Mike McDaniel believing in football karma. And so if you want to read it, you can go to alldolphins.com. It's there.
Yeah, and I put something up on Twitter about karma because it's interesting.
I do believe in karma, by the way.
I kind of do too a little bit. And then Sean Payton was very quick to dump on the entire coaching staff that was in Denver last year. And one member of that coaching staff was Butch Berry, who was on the other side.
Whose unit happens to be the top performing unit on the Miami Dolphins team and also the top performing unit on that game. I would give those 350 yards not to the back, but to the unit. Because when you're watching that film and reviewing that film, and I put up some cut-ups on that film, man, is Teron Armstead downfield, blocking 7 yards downfield. Once you get these backs with this kind of speed to the second level, their job is to make one guy miss, and it's to the house, or at least 40 yards. And, woo, Lord. This offensive line, as we mentioned it, the Legion of Room, I see, and that doesn't just apply to the team. It also applies to the offensive line, because these offensive linemen are getting downfield fast. Like Teron Armstead is beating some backs.
Armstead can move.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah. Armstead can move. And there was somebody who raised a point that it should not be used as a nickname because that was Seattle's thing with the Legion of Boom.
This is Legion of Room, baby.
No, it's not the same thing. I agree. And yeah, to me, I'm like, and I know you're like, you want to go all offensive line now. Before that, it was all quarterback. And I'm like, it's all offense. This entire offense working together with everything they're doing, the scheme, the speed, the blocking up front, the play calling, the way Tua's playing, the way Tyreek Hill's getting open, the way Mostert's running the ball. It's everything meshing together that's making this a stupid good offense right now. I'm not
arguing with you, but answer the question: which unit is performing the best?
Yes, the answer is yes. I don't, I don't,
All
even, I don't, dude. I don't even think you can. There's not one unit that's not performing great. I mean, it's like if you want, okay, the receivers have a couple of drops, big whoop. Tua's got 2 picks, missed a couple of throws, big whoop. The running backs maybe missed a hole here or there, big whoop. The offensive lineman also got like maybe a holding penalty here or there. Every unit.
Listen, we're going to put some respect on offensive line play. When you can protect the quarterback, keep the quarterback clean, keep him confident in the pocket, give him the opportunity to scan downfield, and then have the balance to, okay, teams want to take away the pass. They want to put 3 safeties down there. We're going to run. We're going to do outside zone. We're going to do inside zone. We're actually going to be cutting down people on the second level. Linebackers, I mean, there's a film, and Brian Boldinger put it up because he's literally one of the few that has access to coaches' film right now, where there's a screenshot of a pull to the left. I believe it's the Devon A-chain run, or how we say his name now, a chain. There's
Achan or something.
Achan, yeah. We got to correct how we say his name because now he's got, even though I remember our first interview, we asked him how to say his name and asked him how to spell his name. But sometimes mama corrects people. Like, it's weird, but people don't say my name properly. But I've just gone with it. Yeah.
Whoa, time out. Your name is not Omar Kelly?
It's actually Amar. My parents and family calls me Amar. I don't even call myself Amar. Okay. But sometimes you got to go with what mama intended, and he's playing now. Obviously, I promise you, mama and daddy be like, why are these people mispronouncing our name? And a correction has to be made. But besides that point, the offensive line is performing at a level that this is early. We've only got 3 games. We're probably going to lose a center to a growing injury, and we'll get into those injuries a little bit later. But it's unicorn-esque. They are performing better. The Unicorns didn't start performing like the Unicorns until after Dallas Thomas, Billy Turner, and Jamal Douglas got fired. Yeah. And then it was the birth of the Unicorns.
Well, because they didn't have their 5 guys in there.
Yes, correct.
But to me, again, I'm going to go to the same point I made yesterday. That 2016 team didn't have the stud wide receivers. In fact, I challenge you, name me one who was the top wide receiver on that team. Okay. You had Jay Ajayi, who was a very good bruising back. Ryan Tannehill was the quarterback.
Kenny Stills and Devontae Parker.
Okay, very good. Are they Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle?
Jarvis Landry. Kenny Stills, Devontae Parker, Jarvis Landry. That's a solid trio.
Sure. It's not Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. And is Ryan Tannehill Tua?
Not even close.
Okay.
Yes.
Was the play calling the same? To me, again,
no.
And it's not, so I'm clear on this, it's not disrespecting the offensive line, which is playing fabulous. And I think the credit deserves to be spread everywhere. It's the totality of everything that's going on offense that's making it so good. It's not one specific element. That's what I'm saying.
It does, but what unit has taken the most criticism, took the most heat all offseason? It was the offensive line.
Absolutely. If you're going on a curve, yes.
It was never good enough. People threw stones at Chris Greer, after the draft because it wasn't addressed. Even Tua said it. They're giving a bit middle finger to the NFL right now, and to all the naysayers who, I don't necessarily put myself in I am a very critical offensive line person, but I have not been extremely critical of the offensive line since the signing of Isaiah Wynn and Cedric O. I was like, look at the amount of veteran presence that they have on this team. They will figure it out. Now, I was watching, and I was going to be critical, and I had my concerns about Butch Barry. Wait, what's that?
That's we both were.
Yes. I had my concerns about Butch Barry, but when I started watching the product, I was like, okay, all right. Especially Isaiah Wynn. I was like, okay. And then Liam Eichenberg, who I would argue was the weakest link of that unit, I said, there's a problem there. They got to address that. They addressed it. Isaiah Wynn has played masterfully, reminding me a lot of Jermon Bushrod when he moved inside the guard with the Unicorns. And then when we started the exhibition season, I was like, holy smokes, they can open up running lanes. They can mow down teams. And I was like, okay, this teaching is connecting. And then we take it to the regular season. The first game teams were like, okay, beat us with the pass. It was a shootout. Chargers, you beat them with the pass. Second game, New England said, you're going to have to beat us with the run. And Raheem Mostert said, okay, I could do that. Yep. And then this game, I really didn't think Denver wanted to play. Denver had no, and when you're getting mowed down, and that's what people have to understand about this scheme, and this is not new to Miami. They've been doing it in Denver. I remember Randy Starks used to tell me, yeah, we don't want to play those teams. Defensive linemen, because they're going to cut you down. And Dolphins don't do the dirty cut blocking, but they're still cutting people down. And as a defender, you don't want to play that because
no,
you don't want to play that. It's a very dangerous style of playing, and the Dolphins seem to have mastered it in 3 games.
No, the Denver defense was like, you're not going to beat us with the pass, you're not going to beat us with the run, you're going to beat us with everything. Throw everything at us, we're not stopping anything.
Yeah, no, I think the heat and humidity played a factor in the second half, but in the first half, they didn't want any of that contact. They gave up 35 points and 300 yards in both halves. So it wasn't like their home field advantage, which I have maintained, I'm going to continue to maintain, is the biggest in the NFL. And for anybody who's going to go, well, what about the teams who have to play in the high altitude in Denver? Well, it's the same for both teams. The Hard Rock Stadium is the only stadium where the conditions are not the same for both teams. That's what gives the Dolphins the home field advantage, unlike any other in the NFL. When it's literally 15 to 20, 25 degrees hotter on one sideline than the other. And that's going to come into play in certain games. I don't think it was a factor yesterday. It was a blowout from start to finish. And like you mentioned, I don't know if the players have stopped playing for Sean Payton or what, but I mean, Jesus. By the way, I looked this up. Denver was 2-1 last year, and Sean Payton can bitch and moan about how bad Nathaniel Hackett and his coaching staff were. They were 2-1 after 3 games last year. I was saying this morning on the Joe Rose show, and I while I am a Vance Joseph fan, and I do believe in Sean Payton, I think paying him $17 million a year is ridiculous. But hey, if that's what teams want to do, and I'm sure Steve Ross would have done it if he said yes. Mm-hmm. But somebody got to get fired. Players, coach, somebody got to get fired in that situation. You can't give up like. You got, just like when Adam Gase fired offensive linemen to get his team's attention and let you know the jobs are not guaranteed, and your stay here is tentative and based on performance. Somebody got to get fired in Denver.
Well, it's not Sean Payton. No, it's not Sean Payton with the money they're paying him. And I think remember when we talked to our buddy Ben Albright last Tuesday, he was saying that the hiring of Vance Joseph did not exactly play well with the populace, who remembered what he did as a head coach. And
I mean, you're not going to get a defensive coordinator right now, and it's not going to make your team better. So I'm not suggesting that it should be Vance Joseph. And I like Vance Joseph. And Vance Joseph, I'm going to watch Denver's coach's defensive coordinator's press conference, because you know how Vance Joseph keeps it real. And I got to see that one. I got to figure out when that schedule is and watch it, because it's going to get real. But they got to cut some players. Somebody's got to get cut. You can't get beaten down like that and not send a message.
You're right. No, I don't disagree with that. But it's like somebody was making the point of like, it's embarrassing because it's a team with a lot of like high end players on defense, and I'm like, who?
Like,
who?
I looked at that depth chart going into the game, and before when we did Albright, and I was just like, yeah, they're about to get beat. They're not getting beat down, but this is going to be an ugly game. Like, I don't see any defensive studs in there except for Simmons and Surtain and Kareem Jackson, who wasn't a factor in the game, by the way.
Not in the least, and Simmons didn't play, and then Jose Jewels is a decent linebacker, but he left the game at some point. So anyway, let's address the news of the day, which Mike McDaniel's day after the game media session. Obviously, this is one of the updates with injuries, and we got, unfortunately, it's quite the list. Basically, Jalen Phillips day-to-day with the oblique injury. Connor Williams, groin injury, said also kind of day-to-day, but also pointed out we're waiting for further results from testing to see what the deal is. River Craycraft with a shoulder, not day to day. Sounds like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's going to be, who knows?
A minute.
A minute, and he's not playing against Buffalo, basically, is the bottom line there. Eli Apple, who left the game to be evaluated for a concussion in the fourth quarter, is not in the protocol. That's good news. And this one that I did not notice during the game, and Durham Smythe, and also was not in the post game notes under injuries reported in the press box. Apparently, we spent some time in the medical tent. And Julian Hill got a ton of snaps at tight end.
How many snaps? Because I know you know.
Off the top of my head, Julian Hill is in the 50s. I think 56 maybe, and Smythe had 27. And this Smythe
56?
Yes, Smythe played all but 2 snaps in the first 2 games. So, and then
McDaniel, 56?
Yes, 56.
56?
Yes. Out of 73 that the Dolphins had on offense. Yes.
56. I know he was playing early and playing with Smythe. 56 though. That's a lot.
Can we go ahead and say, boys and girls at home, let's say it again one more time for Omar. 56.
One thing I want to point out, and this is something that Durham Smythe surprised me with. Durham Smythe said that Julian Hill was stronger than him. And I was like, word? Like, yeah, like he's like, these guys are coming in here like monsters. And he was like, Durham Smythe, yeah, he's stronger than me. And I was like, what?
He's a big
like,
dude.
That's unreal.
Big dude. It's actually
a very strong guy.
Omar, it's 57. It's 57, not 56.
57?
57. Go ahead. 57.
Yeah. That's a lot. I don't even know if Tariq played 57.
Sorry?
I don't even know if Tariq played 57 snaps.
No, Tariq played 39. But again, I mean, obviously by the fourth quarter, I was like, okay, I mean, so by the way,
you know what? It's very good, and we'll get back to the injuries. I always remember there was an end of Joe Philbin's season, and the one regret that he said that he had was that he didn't play enough young players so that he had the film to help them and coach them better. Not that I view Joe Philbin as a good coach, but it's always beneficial for you to play young players, which is why I wish Cam Smith would have been active for that game, because he would have been, and I think the Dolphins will learn from that experience and opportunity. You would have had coachable, teachable moments with him out there in a game that didn't matter to be out there on the field, and you could have coached that up.
Whoa. But here's the thing. Whoa, time out. My reaction is in a game that didn't matter. Dolphins didn't go in knowing they were going to blow him out by 50 points. And I think if they had any concern on defense, is Russell Wilson had put up decent numbers, and he did pass for 300 yards, even though those were very empty calories. But I think that was the concern.
I like that term.
Thank you. And I think the fact that
those are mostly Justin Herbert's calories too, by the way. Anyway, continue.
Okay. That's a good one. I'm not even going to touch it. You're pretty happy. That's funny. Herbert, who lost Mike Williams, by the way, out for the year, torn ACL.
Who lost who?
Mike Williams, Chargers wide receiver, out for the year, torn ACL.
Damn, another excuse for Justin Herbert. Continue. Go ahead.
Who passed for like 400 yards and was about to lose the game until they got a fluke INT at the end of the game. But just goes to show. Anyway, we digress. Obviously, if the
Dolphins just over here putting teams away by 50 points, I'm just saying.
In game, but okay. Okay. Go for it. No, if Cam Smith was made inactive, obviously there's a trust issue. Fangio didn't like what he saw in practice during the week.
Correct.
So this idea, you can't go in thinking, well, we're going to have a cushion at some point.
And Justin Campbell had earned the starting role. Elijah, because really it's Cam Smith or Elijah Campbell. And you know Elijah Campbell is a top special teams player. He's playing no matter what. So you had to figure out who has to sit. It probably could have come down to Eli Apple or Cam Smith. So that's the decision. And they went with the veteran cornerback, as I would have as well. But I'm just saying, if you would have had Cam Smith on that game, you would have had 20 to 30 coachable snaps.
Again, but you're not making the decision on who plays by what coachable snaps you're going to get. And by the way, Eli Apple didn't sniff the field until the fourth quarter when the game was out of hand, and then he had to leave the game to be evaluated for the concussion. So Eli Apple is out of favor. At that point, this is how far Cam Smith was on the depth chart during the week. They came in with the Eli Apple is not playing unless there's an emergency. And if there's an emergency, we want Eli Apple. We don't want Cam Smith. So that tells you right there, again, like I said, there's a trust issue right there with Vic Fangio, or he had a really bad week of practice, or both.
Or both. Yes. And we will get to the root of it with alldolphins.com this week, especially when we talk to Vic Fangio, who is a straight shooter. The one injury that does concern me, let's get back to the injuries.
Go ahead. Yes.
Right now, River Craycraft, okay, it's a shoulder. He's known as a blocker. You can't block without a shoulder. So let's put that at least 2 weeks. We're stashing him on the shelf 2 weeks. That gives us 2 opportunities to elevate Robbie Chosen, which, as we see, Robbie basically was the starter in the game. While Rivers started, Robbie played in their base package, which features Durham Smythe and Alec Ingold and 2 receivers. So you can say whatever you want about Robbie Chosen, but he was your starter and played in the most important package. Continue.
No, I was going to make a very important point there. To your point, the first touchdown of the game, if you recall the play, that play was made possible. It was made possible because 2 guys, 2 DBs, including the deep safety to the right side of the offensive formation, came down on Chosen when he ran like a deep route over the middle. And while he was doing that, lost track of Tyreek, who was coming across the middle from the other side. And and then Tyreek was wide open. Tua gets him the ball. Basically
miscommunication.
Correct. But it was Chosen. If it's River Craycraft, do 2 guys converge on him? Maybe not.
Okay. Now let's move to the next injury. The one that really concerns me the most is Connor Williams.
Okay.
Connor Williams, and understand, I know we got these snapping issues, but Connor Williams, without a doubt, before Teron Armstead got on the field, was your number 1 run blocking offensive lineman. I mean, he's mowing people down 5 yards down the field just about every snap. And
Robert Hunt, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, wow. You gonna challenge me like that? Like, Rob, okay.
Can we call him even?
I want Rob to get paid, so I'm gonna put some respect on his name. Rob Hunt was doing very well. And in fact, I cut up some clips from him last week so I'm not disrespecting Rob. And I like Rob. Rob is one of my favorite guys in the locker room. I appreciate Rob and what he's doing. And he's proving to me that he fits the scheme. So let's get Rob paid. But Connor mows people down. And now you have 3 offensive linemen who are mowing people down. And I'm not really, it's 4 because Isaiah Wynn's out there mowing people down too. And I don't want to be disrespectful, Austin, because he's mowing people down too. Which is why now we got, they're not the unicorns, because I'm not going to disrespect the unicorns like that, or disrespect their name, because the unicorns got that name because they were rarely ever together for a prolonged stretch. And when you saw them, it was like seeing a unicorn because they were killing people. This offensive line is better than them. And I don't need to see more game to see that they're better than them. They're better at mowing people down, whereas the unicorns, half them and half Jay Ajayi. And I'm not disrespecting any of these backs because they are speedsters. But when you're 5 yards down the field before somebody gets a shot at you, that's the offensive line. That's not the back. You disagree or agree on that?
Scheme.
Huh?
Scheme, game plans, play calling. And again, it's actually interesting.
If it was scheme, it would be so easy for everybody else to do.
But part of what makes it work is the speed that they have outside as well, and the quarterback with the quick decision making to get him the ball. Okay. It's actually very interesting because you have praised the unicorns. I mean, I don't know how many times. If I had $1 for every time I've heard you say the term unicorn, in all the times I've known you, I would be living in a mansion up in the mountains right now.
That's the best offensive line that we've had in Dolphins history since back in the Richmond Webb, Keith Simmons days.
Okay, but now you're like so insanely quick. And again, they're playing great and all that, but it amazes me how quickly you are to like dismiss them and say this line's better.
This line is better, but there's no aspect of the game that they're not better at.
Okay,
like they're better run blocking, they're better pass protection. They're more and understand this is the same scheme as what the Unicorns are running. They were running outside zone. I think JJE did what he wanted to do, but it was still outside zone. It was coached by the guy who mentored Butch Barry, who, Chris Forrester, he, despite what happened here in Miami, he is
Correct.
the best
Correct.
offensive line coach in the NFL. And at the time, the Dolphins were paying him $2 million a year. So, let's put some respect on Chris Forrester's name. Like he's also a mentor of Mike McDaniel as well. Mike McDaniel has said when he needed to find a lane in a coaching world, he went to Butch Barry. I mean, he went to Chris Forrester and said, "Hey, teach me this run game stuff." And Chris Forrester did that.
Okay.
So,
okay. I mean, I don't know what I mean. If I want to be grumpy old man here, I just we're so very quick to like best this, best this, best this, best since. I'm sorry. I'm gonna actually show more respect to the Unicorns than you will, because I'm saying, first of all, it's been 3 games. Let's let it play out. Right now, to me, again, I think you're dismissing what that 2016 offensive line did, but
they were the catalyst behind their success that season that made to the playoffs. You're right. I'm being dismissive. I'm falling in love with the new hot chick of 300 pounders. That's I love line play. I love line play. This line play,
and I like it too. And it's
beautiful. It's beautiful.
But again, to me, it's the whole pack. This offense right now, and I'm going to go with the hyperbole in terms of what they're doing right now. The way they're playing, I've never seen anything like it in my time to cover the Dolphins. In terms of because it's the passing game and the running game are just both of them explosive, almost equally. And the Dolphins have never had that. In the 70s, it was basically nothing but running game. They would pound you to death with the occasional deep shot to Paul Warfield. And then under the Marino years, they never had a great running game. This team right now, it's insane the way everything they do with the fastest team, maybe the fastest offense that maybe has ever been assembled. So to me,
got all 6 of the fastest miles per hour times in the NFL this season.
Yeah, and now one of those is Jalen Waddle, who just as fast as anybody else. Just goes to show you, it's 3 guys who were make up those top 6. It's Achane, Hill, and Mostert, and then you tack on Jalen Waddle. The speed on this offense is stupid. It's stupid. So my hyperbole is going to be,
and keep in mind that's 32 teams most of them have had 3 opportunities to play games. Mm-hmm. And with everybody's had a big breakaway, and you don't even have to run far to get your miles per hour up. Yep. I believe Achane got there on like 120-yard play, and it's and to have all 6 of the top speeds, like that's But Mike, we know that Mike McDaniel's obsessed with speed. I have never been a believer that speed is the top intangible. I think I've seen plenty of fast guys not be good football players. And I think that there has to be some understanding in marriage. These are football players with speed. And they're really playmakers with speed. Because I think Devon Achane, he's not just a gadget player. At least that's what he's proven to me. On these outside zones, that he has the speed to turn the corner. And we've seen that so much in practice. And now with Teron Armstead out there mowing down people on that corner, you seeing these Teron Armstead, Isaiah Wynn, and Connor Williams lumbering downfield, and you're watching these defensive linemen like, oh crap, I can't hit the ground. Then they hit the ground, and then it's like one-on-one with a safety, and and then the wide receivers are blocking the cornerbacks, and keep in mind the wide receivers blocking, that's been phenomenal. Everybody's bought in. So I give you the scheme thing. Everybody has absolutely bought into what they're doing.
No, and again, it's 3 weeks in, but at this time right now, this is like, I'm trying to think, okay, this is 99 Rams, 2013 Broncos, 2018 Chiefs. I mean, they're in that stratosphere right now. And one thing about A-Chain that I saw that I like, he's bouncing off tacklers. He is not easy to bring down. And then somebody on social media made a comment of like, well, because we going back to the Ahmed comparison, well, he's tougher than Ahmed. Well, I hate to break it to you, Ahmed broke some tackles as well in the first 2 weeks.
We're not going to disrespect
yes,
Ahmed.
did. Sorry,
yeah, we're not going to disrespect Ahmed.
No, Ahmed can play.
To prop up Devon A-Chain. Ahmed has earned everything he's gotten, and he was the number 2 running back for a reason, and it was undeniable, and you could not take that job from him. Injury cost him that job, and as you said yesterday, he's about to get Wally Pipp, and so is Jeff Wilson, maybe. Like, you that toothpaste is out the tube. You can't put it back. Like,
but here's what. Well,
record-setting rookie performance.
Yeah,
actually, record-setting first 2-year performance.
Correct, but under again the game circumstances kind of lend. And you and I made the point. If it's Salvon Ahmed in the game and he gets the same opportunities that they changed yesterday, does he rush for a lot less than 203? I don't know. McDaniel was asked very specifically that he said in the past, you don't lose your job because of injuries. Well, what do you do now with A-Chain performing so well? And he basically kind of said, stuck by his statement, but there's also something to be said for somebody playing well enough to when they have opportunities to earn more opportunities. Basically what he's saying is, yes, A-Chain is going to get incorporated while not necessarily obliterating Salvon Ahmed. Right?
You don't have enough balls for that. Not literally, but like there's so many. Like, where would you put Devon A-Chain on the list of playmakers? Everybody healthy.
Well, he's kind of he's right there with Ahmed. I mean, yes, I'm going to say they're the same guy.
Huh?
The same guy, and actually he's faster in the open field. So maybe slightly ahead of Ahmed, except Ahmed has more knowledge of the offense.
You put Ahmed ahead of Jeff Wilson? Like, that's what I'm saying.
In terms of playmaking, yes.
Okay.
If you need a 3rd and 1 run. And by the way, we never talked about this because in a 70-20 game, it doesn't matter. I don't have a major issue with the Dolphins going for it on 4th and 1 from their 34. They've done it ad nauseum since McDaniel got here. I didn't like the play call going to Ingold twice in a row. And Omar, you obviously disagree, or either that or you're having a major tick in your neck.
I hated it. But I'm sorry, at the 34, no, you're not going for that.
Okay.
At flip the field. No, you're just giving up 3 points. Yes, your defense had an amazing stand, but let's not pretend like this defense can do that on a regular basis, because I can honestly tell you, I'm not really pleased with the defense. I think they're okay. And this is not what I expected from a Vic Fangio defense. It's okay.
It's been, but don't break. I don't know what we were.
I don't like that.
I'm not a huge fan of it, but again, yeah, they gave up a lot of yards, a lot of empty calories.
And then get the ball.
Say what?
Like, it's bend but don't break and then get the ball and tighten up in the red zone. Okay, how about you just tighten up?
Because if you tighten up, then you take the chance of giving up plays over the top. That's the Flores scheme, and then I'm going to please a lot of Dolphin fans here. That's the Brian Flores scheme, which is certainly not working very well for him so far as the DC in Minnesota. So that's a freebie for the Flores haters out there. But it's a risk and reward. And unless my memory massively fails me, when the Dolphins were winning Super Bowls, or in the 1980s, the Killer Bees, Bill Arnsparger was a massive bend but don't break.
I didn't see that era, and I probably wouldn't have liked it then either.
Yeah, you're going to drive the field. There were times when they were blitz happy, I think, but there were also other times when it was like bend but don't break. You're going to drive the field. You're going to take an awful lot of plays, and we're going to bank on the fact you're going to make a mistake.
There has to be some marriage between this, because you can't just. I get it. You got an offense that's like running a track meet every week, and you're going to generally be playing with a lead. What I would like to see, and I think I did see it a little bit last week, is you got a lead. Let's pin your ears back and let's get them. Let's hunt. And, they deserve that opportunity. How many times did you see defenses like play tentative backing up? Come on, man. It's not a pretty. No, I don't like it. No. It's okay. Keep everything in front of you. Not for me.
No,
Not for me.
but again, they got three. They got three takeaways. They would have given up 13 points if it wasn't for the damn special teams again, giving up the kickoff.
I have no right to complain, and I apologize. I have no right to complain, but I'm speaking about a collection of what I've seen for 3 weeks.
Oh, I agree.
And the pass rush not going to work against Buffalo.
The pass rush isn't flooring me in the least. They took advantage of like a really shaky right tackle against New England, but not a whole lot in the pass rush.
Don't you disrespect what Van Ginkel did. I said, don't you disrespect what Van Ginkel did.
Like I said, they took advantage of a shaky right tackle against the Patriots. They didn't get any pressure up front unless they were blitzing against the Chargers. And then yesterday they had one sack, which was at the end when Agba came in free and dropped Russell Wilson. Outside of that, there wasn't a ton of pressure.
Good game for Agba, by the way. Interception and a sack. Probably his career game. Might be his first interception.
No. He had a big game against the Rams. That year, you're forgetting 2020 when he was forcing fumbles all over the place. What I was going to say, yeah, he had two big plays in the fourth quarter of a 50-point win. And it was Van Ginkel who came in when Jalen Phillips got hurt. It wasn't Agba. So I think his role remains the same.
You know what time it is with Van Ginkel. You know what time it is. It's Van Ginkel time.
He didn't start, though.
I know, but he played.
David Long was the one getting the reps at inside linebacker alongside Jerome Baker.
He played. How many plays? How many snaps? I know you know.
Ooh, for Gink?
Yeah.
40, 30.
30?
Yep.
That's not bad. That's a good healthy week.
Baker 46, David Long 36. And again, the snap counts, which I analyzed on alldolphins.com, as I do every Monday, were obviously skewed by the fact that a lot of the stars were pulled in the fourth quarter when the score got out of hand. Man, did it get out of hand.
50 points. I while I did want him to go for the record, because I wanted Mike McDaniel's play calling sheet to be put into the Hall of Fame. That's just 50-point victory is a 50-point victory. Like, you won't see that ever.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
No, anyway,
maybe the play calling sheet does get put in the Hall of Fame. Maybe they call up and say, "Hey, it's best performance in 60-something years" or something like that.
Yep. Yeah, crazy stuff.
Anyway,
a whole bunch of records set by that's something else we have on alldolphins.com.
Check out the records that the Miami Dolphins set.
Whole bunch of them, and some that you have not seen. A lot of them have been released, put out already. I dug up more stats like I do, like the sicko that I am.
Like the Rain Man that you are.
Like the Rain Man that I am. And on that note, the Rain Man's going to say I'm an excellent driver. Excellent driver. It's a line from the movie. Tomorrow we have our Behind Enemy Lines segment. Should be a good one because we're talking about the showdown in the AFC East. As always, like, subscribe, share, download, tell a friend. Thank you all very, very much for tuning in and taking in our work here on the audio podcasts on the Fans First Sports Network under Miami Dolphins Insider and on alldolphins.com. Omar, till we speak tomorrow.
Congratulations, and we will see you for the Buffalo Showdown.
Sir.